So, funny story, I had a chat with the brilliant minds over at the Institute of BS, and according to their very official research, the only surefire way for XRP to skyrocket is if my videos rack up at least 3,000 likes. Yep, that's the secret sauce. You wouldn't want to go against top-tier experts like that, right? Insert a cheeky wink here. Obviously that's a load of nonsense, but hey, every like and comment really does mean the world to me. So if you enjoy the content, smash that like button like it owes you money, drop a comment, and let's dive in. Right now, XRP is giving us a little reality check with a 7% dip. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is standing its ground at $103,428. If you glance at the Bitcoin dominance chart, it was flirting with a downward trend all week, dipping close to that 1348 EMA crossover, but then surprise, it bounced back up. We saw dominance slip to 61.8%, but it's clawed its way back to 63.34%. Zooming in on the altcoin action, XRP's down 7%, Solana slid by 5%, Virtu has taken a 9% hit, Pepe's dropped 7.5%, Algorand's off by nearly 6%, and Cardano shed 5%. Basically, the same altcoins that were flexing hard last week are now feeling the sting the most. But here's the kicker. XRP just saw a massive $3.38 million long liquidation. Someone clearly got a little too ambitious with their leverage and paid the price. This is a textbook example of why over-leveraging is risky business. Sure, leverage can pump your gains, but it can just as easily wreck your account if you're not careful. And when that happens, you're benched on the sidelines, watching the market rebound without you. Over the past 4 hours alone, XRP longs saw nearly $8 million wiped out. That's a serious reminder to stay sharp and manage your risk. What usually happens is this: after a few green days, people get overconfident, crank up their leverage, and then bam, they get liquidated. Most of the XRP drop we're seeing now, it's not even organic selling pressure. It's rolling liquidations, one after another. Between 1:30 a.m. and 2 a.m. my time, XRP took another hit, dropping an extra 3%. What started as a modest 3% dip snowballed to a 6 to 7% fall, and in crypto that's not insignificant. Once you're pushing 7%, 8%, even 10% down, it starts to get real spicy. But remember, in this market, moves like this can get gobbled up pretty quickly. We'll keep an eye on the price action as things unfold in the coming days. For long-term holders though, whether XRP is at $2.38, $2.45, or even $2 flat, it doesn't really matter if you're not actively trading. The only folks who need to be laser focused right now are those looking to buy the dip, sell the dip, or manage their stop losses. So unless you're day trading or swing trading, these short-term moves are more noise than signal. But if you are in the trenches with positions open, well, that's where smart risk management comes into play. If that's your strategy, fair enough, it's your call. But if you're someone thinking long-term, you've got to have a game plan. We'll touch on what Dave Portnoy said in a minute, but first things first, you need to be ready for whatever the market throws at you. I always say plan ahead, cover your bases. It's simple advice, but so many people skip it. Today I came across a post on Instagram that really hit home. It wasn't in English, so I'll give you my translation. It goes like this: what's the difference between a rookie investor and a seasoned one? After 2 weeks of green candles, the newbie's ready to quit their job and go pro in trading. Meanwhile, the veteran investor just shrugs and says, yeah, this is nice. But flip it around, 2 weeks of red candles and suddenly the beginner's freaking out saying, I'm done. As soon as I get back my original money, I'm out. The old school investor, they've seen this movie before. They know this is just how markets breathe, up and down, back and forth. It's just the natural rhythm of things. No panic, just patience. That's really the heart of it. Experienced investors have been through these emotional roller coasters. The newcomers not so much. They get rattled easily. A lot of them don't even stick around long enough to hear this kind of advice. They're in such a rush. But markets have a funny way of teaching lessons. Sometimes it takes a few losses to really learn, and that's okay. Everyone pays their tuition in this game. The key is to actually learn from those mistakes, so next time you're not caught off guard. I've heard countless stories from big names in crypto who left millions on the table in past cycles simply because they got too greedy. They didn't lock in profits when they should have. That's a lesson I'm personally trying to take to heart this time around, taking profits when it makes sense, not just chasing the top. I'm also working on keeping clear distinctions between my short-term trades, medium-term plays, and long-term holds. It helps me stay grounded and not mix emotions into every decision. But remember, this is just my approach. You have to do what's right for you. This isn't financial advice. Always do your own research and understand what you're getting into before investing a single dollar. Nobody, not even the pros, can predict the market's every move. I'm not here to tell you when to buy, sell, or hold. Why? Because I don't know what headlines might pop up tomorrow. Maybe there's a surprise from Trump. Maybe some economic data shifts the mood. Maybe, worst case, some global crisis appears out of nowhere. Black swan events are always lurking. That's why caution is key. Always stay sharp. On an interesting note, did you hear about what's going on in Brazil? A company called Meluís, if I'm saying that right, just scooped up 28.4 million worth of Bitcoin. They're officially Brazil's first company to add Bitcoin to their treasury. Mark my words, we'll be seeing more of this trend globally. Companies building Bitcoin reserves. And who knows? Down the line, maybe we'll even see the same happening with XRP. Let's wait and see how this unfolds. Ripple has just announced a collaboration with Us to kick off an XRP ledger pilot, which will provide blockchain-driven income and credit solutions to support 300 farmers in Colombia. Pretty exciting stuff. If this works out, we might see a lot more of these kinds of partnerships popping up. Slowly but surely, we're moving towards a world where using crypto for payments is no longer a futuristic dream but a daily reality. The real battle now is going to be about who gets to build the underlying infrastructure, the rails that support this digital economy. Ripple is in a strong position to become one of those key players. Now shifting gears, there are a couple of interesting interviews from the recent conference in Toronto that I want to touch on. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it this year. Maybe 2025 will be my year, but Consensus 2025 is already turning out to be a big event, drawing in big names and important conversations. One of those names was Dave Portnoy, who opened up about why he chose to invest in XRP. Let's cue that up and listen in. Dave kept it real, admitting his XRP investment wasn't driven by deep research or belief in some grand vision. Instead, he was pretty blunt. It's all about FOMO. He talked about watching people who bought Bitcoin at $7 or $8 now sitting on massive gains, while he's worked for decades grinding it out. Naturally, the fear of missing out hit hard. So when he saw XRP priced around $2.40, his thought was simple. What if this is the next Bitcoin? That's the FOMO factor at play, and honestly, it's a feeling many investors know too well. The truth is, people have always jumped into investments hoping to catch the next big thing. Back when Bitcoin was still a mystery, only a few saw it as a revolution in money. But for most it was a gamble. Maybe this will be worth something someday. Fast forward to today, and we're going to see more investors with that same mindset entering the crypto space. This influx of FOMO-driven buyers is part of why markets stay so volatile. When prices drop, these folks are usually the first to panic sell, sparking chain